it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Reid. That is the fans forum, and it's good evening to George, Darren, Ian, to Chippers, to Barry, to Spenny, to Kevin and Alan, who has joined us just at the death there. So good to see everybody. And Newcastle United win, George, 1-0.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how you
Yes.
get it. It's 3 points in the bag, mate. What did you make of the game at the weekend?
It's not the best, but on the other hand, there were lots of very important positives. Begin with, we've still got one of the best centre forwards of the Premiership. Well, Callum Wilson just demonstrated that on Sunday. He was absolutely great. Every time he moved, their centre backs were worried to death, and it would probably be the goal scorer. And the other side of him is, if you want a reliable penalty taker, we've got one. You don't need to go any further than Callum Wilson. You could see what I found interesting when I watched the replays. The cameras focused on him, and you could see it going through his mind. Like all good goal scorers, before he did anything, he'd made up his mind what he was going to do. And you could see it going through his mind. Something my wife used to accuse me of is that if you think too much, I can see what you're saying, because the words used to go across my lips. It used to get us into bother. But you could see Callum Wilson thinking it out before he took it. So huge positive. Other positives, well, there was a return to form for some people who have been getting hammered. I thought Dan Burn came back wonderfully, and a couple of very important big headers that he only got because of his height to save with. I thought once Bruno got into the game, he had the potential to control it, and he nearly did. I mean, I've seen people criticise him. I think that's a bit harsh. I think he had more than a good game. He actually, for long periods of the time, he was controlling the game. Anthony Gordon proven what a good buy he's been for the money. And I thought Harvey Barnes also demonstrated enough to make me think we've got another possible star there. So I was very happy. And when Longstaff came on, I was good. If there's a slight concern, was that I felt sorry that don't know what it was. What's about him? I thought Elliot Anderson disappeared a little bit on in the match on Saturday. I would hope to see more of him, a bigger presence, but he still wasn't that bad. But I thought he just disappeared a little bit. So for me, there was a lot of energy there. There was a lot of the teamwork that we got used to coming back, and it was a 1-0 on a penalty. But so what? I'll take that every day. It was important to get 3 points on the board, and they did that.
Important to get 3 points on the board. Darren, what was your take on the game at the weekend, mate?
I kind of agree with George. It was a scrappy 1-0 win, but on the performance side, I thought it was shocking. Elliot Anderson, he had his chance to shine. And to me, I've watched him a few times. We call him a Jordan Ronaldo. I don't think he is. I don't think he's the next level. It'll take a lot, and it might upset people, but I just don't think he's got the next level, Steve. Trippier had a bad game. His crossing, his corners were all bad. And Dan Burn, it was 1 point. Barnes won the ball. Barnes needed the Dan Burn to overlap him. He didn't do it. So it's a lot of negative for me. But I'm glad I got the win. But I wasn't impressed with especially like your Burn, your Trippier, your Elliot Anderson. Man of match, Anthony Gordon. I thought he worked his socks off non-stop. But we won. That's the most important thing. We won. Move on to Tuesday now. So I might upset a few people, but sorry.
Well, listen, it's all about opinions. That's what the fans forum is. It's not an agreement club. It's not where we all come on and nod and agree with each other. It's all about opinions. I'm just laughing at Mark Byers. It's nice to see you've got a former World Snooker champion on the day as a guest on your panel. Chippers, this isn't going to go away, I don't think. We'll go to Ian first, though, who's next to the snooker legend. Ian, you've heard what George, and I know you love George, and you often swear by George's opinions. Does George give a balanced view? Darren sounds depressed. Where are you? Are you somewhere in the middle, Ian?
First thing I want to say is, as you know that film Big, where the little guy takes over the big guy's body.
Yes.
Has Alan jumped into Daz today? Not in the biblical sense, obviously.
Possibly, yeah. I mean,
miserable thing I've ever heard in my life, Daz, and a load of rubbish. Trips was absolutely mint. Apart from
Crossing was shocking, though.
Two crosses, 2 dead balls. The rest were good. Defensively, he was excellent. Honestly, I actually put him as my man of the match. Seriously. So it's funny. To be fair though, like I was watching it on the telly because I'm like, you know, I got offered a ticket in the Gallagher, but I couldn't get Tommy one. And being Dad of the Year, I obviously turned it down to sit in my house and swear a lot with my son. So I disagree with you, Dazzler, on that one, mate. I thought the first 20 minutes we were slow, nervous. We weren't pressing. We were well off. We were well off where we should be. But then we came back. Second half, we bossed it. I thought Bruno was excellent in the second half. I agree with you with regards to Gordon. I thought Gordon this season for me up to now is a player of the season. He's worked so hard. You know, he's put another dimension to his game. He looks fit as a fiddle. Anderson, I'm somewhere in the middle of Anderson. First half, I didn't even know he was on the pitch. Then he did a few little things that were like pure quality, but then he was still out of it. But as the second half went on, I did think he came into it more, but he probably was the weakest link in the midfield. I think I can't remember who it was, but I think somebody else on either Mitch or Stu said on your program yesterday said that he was trying too hard. I think that's the case. I think he needs to just relax into it and just play football because he is an excellent footballer. We've seen that when he's relaxed, but I think he is just trying too hard. But overall, anyway, because I need to shut up so other people can speak. Overall, I think we needed the 3 points. We got the 3 points as a team. I thought we played better, and I thought Sean, you know, a couple of misplaced passes, but he was everywhere. He's like that, and he's like an annoying wasp that you can't get rid of. You know, he just was buzzing around everywhere, and I think he did make the difference. So second half, I was really happy, and what I'm most happy about was the last 15, 20 minutes. We didn't bottle it as we did against Liverpool, and as we've done in the past. We stood firm. We kept the ball. And you know, we were professional, and I liked it. So yeah, no, I'm happy.
Okay, fair enough. Chippers, what's your view on the match, mate?
Firstly, I'm not John Parrott, right? So we'll clear that up. I look nothing like him. I don't know where it came from. So
You're Parrott now, though.
Out of the blue. But never mind. But well, I thought we did deserve.
Don't let him rattle your cage.
No, I'm just finding it hilarious. I don't like him.
Oh dear. Oh, Steve Reid. Rattle your cage. Should lock you up.
Shouldn't have done that in front of the beach, should I?
No.
I thought we did deserve it because I thought we did deserve it. Bear in mind we've made 5 changes from the last game. Isaac didn't play, Tonali didn't play, Joe Litton didn't play. Botman was back, which I think we'd say was a massive difference for him because he just seemed to be his usual self, where he was pretty calm and composed. Bruno looked like he's starting to turn the corner again, hopefully. And you know, you got 90 minutes out of Callum Wilson, which I don't know when was the last time he played 90 minutes. Obviously, that probably means to me he's not playing tomorrow night, but I thought it did deserve it. I thought ultimately we should have had another pen when the guy thought he was Maradona for 2 seconds. The disallowed goal, why it's not being shown on any platform is beyond us because it was the goal. I just don't understand it. But I did think we deserved the win. Whether performance to me wasn't important. It was the 3 points, just to get some confidence going, and clean sheet as well. I think I was the first one since playing Man U last season, was it? At St James.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's a big boost as well.
Massive.
I don't think Pope had really much.
Leicester.
Oh, Leicester, that seems a lifetime ago.
Third
I
clean
don't
sheet
think
since February. That third clean sheet since
Yeah.
February.
that's massive. I mean, I don't think Pope had really much to do apart from that hickey chance early on by hitting him in the chest. But again, that's what you want. You want to look a bit more solid. I thought Brentford at times when they had the ball, they just didn't know what to do with it. I mean, for a team that's 9 games unbeaten, I thought they were a bit square, and I thought when we got to the edge of our box, they looked a bit lost. And I thought, well, this is a team that's 9-10 games unbeaten, and they don't know what to do with the ball. But
yeah.
people might think otherwise, but I definitely think we deserve the win. Whether the performance was satisfactory or not, it's positive to take that and play like that and get 3 points, because in the past we've played so badly in games and we've been battered. So it's just, again, like I said, we made 5 changes from the last game. We're able to make 5 changes and win a game of football. It would be good, but again, we can only improve on. I mean, Brentford are a good side as well. We have to take that into consideration. We're not playing a team that's no mugged. We're playing a team that's, like I just said, 9 to 10 games unbeaten. They're pretty solid defensively. He's got them well drilled, even though he's a moany arsehole. But it is what it is. I thought we did deserve it, and we can only go forward now, I would imagine. But hey, we're above Man United. Who would have thought that after 5 games? So
Yeah.
we'll keep going.
You're right, Chippers. Andrew's done a rather subtle way of addressing the parrot situation. He's changed his actual photograph, as you can see, to a parrot. Okay, Alan. Good evening, mate. Good evening. How are you feeling, mate? Is that aspirin in that cup that you've just had a swig of?
No, it's just settled us down. I've just bought Darren a dog collar and given Newcastle the last rights. Newcastle are that bad. We deserve the last rights. No, it was a poor performance. Don't get us wrong. But, lads, I'll take a day of 1-0 every day of the week. Every day of the week. Because I made a comment there, I think last night or the night before. Lads, I know some Liverpool fans were calling their team worse than crap for 80 minutes. And yet, within 10 minutes, they were the best team in the world and we're going to win the league. So, we played poorly. I don't know what's going on with our minds. The goal should have stood. Penalty, 50-50. I think if it had been given against us, I would have been annoyed, but it was given. So we deserve the win, like Chip has said. Definitely. You've got to understand, Anderson, young lad, 20 years of age, he's going to have games where, like George said, he's going to go missing and then he'll come into it. He's got to be given a run in the team to make a decision whether he's good enough or not. I can go by, like 1 game and he's out the team. I'll give some, tablets to Darren and give him some tablets after the game tomorrow night if he likes to cheer him up. But no, I thought I was so relieved to win. It could kickstart our season, lads. We've got a good set of fixtures coming up, and this is where the season starts for me. I thought it was going to be a perfect weekend because Villa were getting beat, Tottenham were getting beat, Man U were getting beat, and it looked as though it was going to be a perfect weekend. Well, that's what we've got to do. We've got to pick ourselves up. We've got 6 points out of 5 games. We're at exactly the same points as last season, even though we haven't played as well. So we've got a run of fixtures that can really take us up the league. And to me, that 4th place is still up for grabs even now. I think there's 3 teams, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, you can see are quality. But Brighton are quality. Tottenham are quality at the minute. But I think it's up for grabs, that 4th place. I still think that. And roll on tomorrow night. I'm super excited for everyone here and everybody that's going. But finish off, lads. Great win. Fantastic. Scrappy, horrible 1-0 win. And I'm over the moon.
Tell you what, that's a lot more upbeat than I was expecting. So credit to you, Alan. I'm the same. I've said it on the shows previous to this that, a 1-0 win, it didn't matter how it came. A scrappy 1-0 win is what we needed. We got it. This week could be a really big week. This week could kickstart our season. a point or 3 points in the game tomorrow night and kickstart our Champions League campaign in a similar fashion, and then another 3 points against Sheffield United, and it could, the Rose, it just suddenly looks, it's a different landscape. It's amazing. That's what football does. Kevin, good evening, mate. What did you make of that? What did you make of that? Clean sheet, 1-0 win.
Well, I only seen 10 minutes because I was in a monsoon and coaching and trying to navigate that, so I couldn't actually watch the game.
There's a monsoon in Milan at the moment. I've just been laughing there because
that's what it was
poor Simon O'Rourke standing in the middle of Milan trying to give a news report about the fans being out there, and he's absolutely drenched. It's the heavens have opened. So you've obviously
I went through that Saturday, so I couldn't watch it. I watched like the last 10 minutes of it, but like the little comment that I said last week and what I put on tonight is a scruffy win, and that's what we needed to do. Again, you can always win a game 1-0. That's a great Jose Mourinho phrase, and that was what he was known to do: win games 1-0. It doesn't matter how it happens. From the bits that I've seen, some of the highlights and things like that, and the lads have already mentioned in terms of the goal that should have stood, that never was. That's still baffling to me. The goalkeeper played the referee down a one-way street and he couldn't get out of it, and it was just a very, very poor decision. Should have had a second penalty, in my opinion, but with the handball,
you can't jump out. You can't jump out using your arms. You can't. It's impossible.
Well, laws. I mean, I understand that, but laws of the game state and suggest.
But his hands.
But it happened last season again.
I'll be jumping up and down on that in the seat, or if I was watching it live, for that to be a penalty, regardless if. Yes, the ball might have been going out of play. Yes, the ball could have been coming back in towards the 6-yard box. You don't know, but again, yes, understand that you got to jump and whatever. But that's poor positional play from a centre half or a fullback if he has to do that. But by the by, but overall, from the highlights, like I said, what I seen would look like. It was only 10 minutes or whatever it was. I couldn't really get an idea of the pattern of play, but it's from what you were saying, it's took us a while to grow into the game. We know what Thomas Frank's teams are going to be like. They're going to be very direct. They're going to be very up in your face, long ball type of team, play off the second ball in the final third. And that's what it kind of looked like, especially towards the end when we had the bits I seen plus 9 minutes. The not through the kitchen sink at it, but through the kitchen sink at it with long throws, set plays, whatever it was, and we dealt with that well. And that's how, and that's a sign of a good team. You can deal with things like that. And and when I was sitting there watching it in the car before I drove home, it was like there was a nervousness, but I felt like a confidence of a Man City where they'll get through the game and win it 1-0, however, whatever they've got to do, in a weird way. And I was thinking this is like a poor Man City performance, but they'll still get the win, or a poor Arsenal performance, they'll still get the win, like Arsenal did yesterday against Everton, because that was dire, but they still won the game. And that's what you've got to do. It doesn't have to be swashbuckling football. It doesn't have to be pretty at times. Again, 1-0 gets you still the same amount of points at the end of the day, and we'll move on and we'll go to Milan tomorrow night and give them a go, because I watched their highlights and they look even worse than a lot of teams that were playing the Premier League from what I witnessed. So it's going to be very intriguing and very interesting tomorrow night.
Yep, definitely is. I believe they had Abramovich in there giving them a bit of a pep talk, and they had a power cut at the training facility. So things seem to be going from bad to worse for Milan at the moment, and now we're monsoon. So we'll see what happens. Interesting. Whenever we seem to go to Europe, we always seem to get one of these monsoons and a downpour. Anybody remember Barcelona?
Certainly.
Fans absolutely soaking wet. Spenny, the Brentford game, give us your views, mate.
I totally agree with Darren, to be honest. Maybe the only one, but I think he's totally right what he said. I think Barnes and Anderson didn't take the chances right either. I thought Byrne was poor at the left back. Yes, he got his headers in, like George said, but he was tortured. Can I say it? Can I speak? Anyway, that's my opinion. And like I said, what I saw in front of us, yes, I think Trippier was all okay, but his 3 kicks were terrible.
Yeah, I agree with that.
His corners were good.
Not all of them, but
first time.
Poor.
They were poor, his 3 kicks. Well, I saw it anyway. I was disappointed, to be honest, that the young ones didn't come on when Trippier had his foot injury or got stamped on. I thought they might have given him more a chance. And I thought the young lad, just Lewis, should have come on in the second half as well. But that's my opinion anyway.
Yeah, hey, everyone's entitled to opinion, and that's what it's all about, the fans forum. Yes, not Abramovich, Ibrahimovic is what I meant to say.
I was going to say.
I do stand corrected. Barry, your take on the match. You obviously listened to it on the radio, Barry. You didn't have the joy of being able to watch it live, but you did manage, Barry, to watch Match of the Day, I presume.
It was weird because I listened to it on NUFC TV, so you get John Anderson's opinion on it. And what I love about Andor, Andor gives it an honest opinion. If we're shite, he says we're shite. He doesn't beat around the bush. He's not all Newcastle like some of the things are. So I listened to the full game, and I thought we were terrible. I thought we were absolutely terrible. I thought we were lucky to get the goal. I thought their striker couldn't hit the side of a barn door. Their keeper was flapping at stuff right, left, and centre. And I thought, right, I'm going to watch the highlights because and I watched the highlights on NUFC TV, and then I've watched it on obviously Match of the Day, and the highlights made it look like a different game, Steve. It was like the highlights made us look as though we were completely in control. Yes, none of the highlights, even NUFC TV, showed the second penalty claim. And I know Anderson said when we got the goal disallowed, when the ball went over the line, he says the only reason we're getting the penalty for Gordon is because now they've made such a huge mistake on the previous VAR decision that they've given us the penalty, because that was more like 50-50. I thought we had a good game. We went for it. We weren't as smooth as we have been, but we did, like the other guys have said, like Kev said, we did what we needed to do to get a dirty result. We turned it in. I think Anderson, he's going to be a tremendous player, but he needs to settle into one position and get more regular games. I was over the moon to see Longstaff back because he hasn't done anything wrong. I suppose you're a bit concerned when you see there's so many changes, but with Milan coming up, you can understand it. I thought that we did all right. Wilson was outstanding for me. He put himself about. He took his chances. I was amazed he lasted the full 90 minutes. I thought something's going to happen and he's going to end up switching out Gordon or somebody into centre forward, because it made it look as though Isaac wasn't going to get a game because he's saving him for Tuesday. But all round, it's 3 points, like the guys have said. We could have played a lot better, and we have done. But sometimes you need results like that, don't you, to get you back on track, and hopefully it'll roll on to Tuesday night. My concern was, as I put across to you guys yesterday, maybe it's not the great results we would have wanted for AC Milan getting absolutely trounced off Inter, because they're going to be well up for the game on Tuesday. But that could go either way, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is, they lost in one of the biggest games of the season, a game that they don't want to win at all costs. They're now having to get an ex-legend in to try and give them a pep talk. It's not looking good. I'd far rather be playing a team that's just been whopped 5-1 than a team that's won 5-1 in a local derby. So for me personally, I think we go there on the crest of a wave, really, after winning a game, and nothing to be scared of. It'll be interesting to see how we're set up. Got to agree with the views on Trippier. I thought his free kicks were poor, bearing in mind the standard he's always set. I was impressed more with the corners that we tried to take. There seems to be a bit more inventiveness about corners. We're trying something different. But I am bemused at why Trippier does take everything, especially in those first few games when Tonali was playing. We were told that Tonali was a free kick specialist. Yeah, he's not allowed anywhere near them. I don't know whether this is, whether Eddie Howe's just allowing Trippier to dominate and take charge, and that's up to him. He's the manager. He knows what he's happy with. But I would just try and vary it. Just try and vary it a little bit. Try and give somebody else an opportunity who's on the pitch, because I think we'll get more from it. And as for the Anderson debate, I don't think the formation really suited Elliot Anderson. I do think, like Mitch said yesterday, he was trying too hard to impress. So I do genuinely think that we will see more from Anderson. I think it's a little bit too late. It's a bit too early, to judge whether Anderson is going to be the next big thing, but he's certainly doing enough to be in and around that team, and I think he'll be vital when it comes to games in the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and yeah, he's just a good option. He's a good option to bring on and have on. I agree with the lads talking about Barnes. I think Barnes had a decent shift, but I thought Gordon had a really good game. But of course, Mr. Anonymous during that game at the weekend was Sean Longstaff, because he does the dirty work. He gave away a few cheap balls in the game. Now, he does that every game, and that's nothing new with Sean Longstaff. And that's one of the reasons that people criticize him. But once again, when the chips were down and he had to get back, and he had to get back at the last minute, he was the man back. He got back. He really, really is one of those, endurance players who, you can see why Eddie Howe rates him. I genuinely think Longstaff probably shone for me in that game, more than I expected him to. And it allowed Bruno to go and do what he normally does. It's a hell of a decision to make coming up in these next few games, because, I know we've got the Champions League in between the league games, and we've now got the Carabao Cup on the horizon. But you're looking at it all and thinking, it's that midfield conundrum that Eddie Howe has got to solve, because he's got to find a midfield that can do the job on a regular basis in the Premier League, and that's going to be the hardest part. I think the European games will be completely different, but that's it on Brentford. It's 3 points in the bag. We're going to have the ads now, and then we're going to start looking ahead to tomorrow night.
A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at skipsandbins.com or telephone 0800 25 45 25 3. Email inquiries at skipsandbins.com. Website skipsandbins.com. Easy contract free and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Big thanks to Mr. Vicky's sauces handmade in Cumbria. You can order them from their website, mrvickys.co.uk, or by telephoning 01768 210 102. A big thanks also to New Workwear. You can find them at newworkwear.com. They're an agile and dedicated workwear provider. Welcome back as well to United Travel. They are a UK coaches firm, and they are based in the Northeast. They've got 2024 tours, and you can contact them on 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. Email info@unitedgrouptravel.com, and they've got a website which is unitedgrouptravel.com. There's no strangers on their tours, just people you haven't met yet. Big thanks to them for their sponsorship. Big thanks as well to Media Arts, and they supply all the video technology. If you want to become a member and get a cup, a pen, a membership card, and a scarf, then get your smartphone and put it over this QR code. It will take you straight to the membership pack. It's a £25 one-off fee. You can also go to NUFC Matters website and search membership pack to book today. If you want to help the channel, then subscribe to it by hitting the subscribe button. Hit the thumb up under the video to like the video, and click share to share to your other social media. We're also available as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast providers. Don't forget, we help the food bank on this channel. If you want to do so virtually, go to nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk and make a donation today. The Alan Shearer raffle is back on. 150 tickets, £1 a ticket. Win a limited edition signed Alan Shearer ball. Enter today at nufcmatters.com.
Don't forget as well, 29 tickets left for the Kieran Trippier print. It's signed by Kieran Trippier. Nice glossy print, which will look great in the frame. Go to nufcmatters.com for that. Christmas Do is on the horizon. You've got Frank Clark and John Gibson's event at the Irish Club. £15 a ticket, nufcmatters.com. And John has launched a new T-shirt. I've never seen a Macam in Milan T-shirt. Geordie's on tour with all the Champions League dates on the back. You can get them again from nufcmatters.com. Okay, tomorrow, Tuesday, it's a 5:45 p.m. kickoff, British summertime, Italian time 6:45. Newcastle begin the Champions League group campaign in Milan on Tuesday when they face AC Milan in the San Siro Stadium. Anyone travelling in Italy on Monday, don't forget there's a strike of local public transport workers is being called, which is anticipated to affect bus, tram and metro services. As for the team, well, Eddie Howe's gone through the press conference, I believe, over the last hour or so. That'll be uploaded very soon. Joe Linton's going to miss out, of course, with a knee injury. The game comes too early for Joe Willock or Emil Kraft. But Sandro Tonali, well, Eddie Howe will let us know in the press conference whether he's going to be fit or not. He was doubtful last I heard. Okay, as for Milan, they were thumped in their derby at the weekend. So they are on a bit of a crest of a slump. And again, we are awaiting team news for them. Referee, know nothing about him. Jose Maria Sanchez from Spain. And VAR, Alessandro Hernandez, also from Spain. Again, if you're watching this in Italy tonight, don't forget that you need to go for a wee or a number 2 before you go to the ground, because in the away end, there aren't enough toilets. So you will end up nipping it or having to do something which you could get arrested for. So probably the best idea is to try not to have too much to drink before you go in, go to the toilet, and then have a good drink when you come out. But anyone out there, enjoy yourselves, and we will be all behind you. Make sure you sing your hearts out for the lads. So, George, Champions League, we're back after all this time.
Yes, we are. Fantastic.
What are you expecting from Newcastle tomorrow?
I'm expecting Newcastle to be slightly cagey, but I'm hoping they'll go for it, because Milan will be very sore about the loss, but they'll also be looking over their shoulders to make sure it doesn't happen again. And I'd be inclined to have a go at them, but I think in first 15 minutes, I think they'll be cagey. They'll suss things out and then get more into the game. They really have little to fear, in my opinion. Milan, we're an unknown quantity to them. They haven't come across us in any sense or form in recent years. So, we're going to be an unknown quantity, and I think that's always a good thing to be in any match, and particularly a European match. All our European experience in the past, whether it be Fairs Cup or European Cup, because of that unknown factor, we ended up with a positive on our sides. It wasn't a negative; it was a very positive thing to have. So I'm expecting a good game. I'm expecting us to have a go, and I'm expecting us to win.
Okay, Ian, what are you expecting from the match tomorrow?
What I hope we'll do is play our game. Like George said, I hope that slightly different to what George said. I hope we come out of the traps fast. And if we sit back against them, they probably are going to be in a much better position. If we press them, all right, we might leave space at the back, but we do that against everyone. I look at it and say, are they a better team than Man City? No. Are they, and we give them a game. Are they a better team than Liverpool? Probably about the same, I guess, maybe with a better defence. But, you've got to look at what we do in the Premier League. The Premier League have the best teams in the world for me in club football. And we hold our own against all of them. So there's no reason that we don't go out and do what we do against them. I'm sure that Eddie will tweak things. They've got a couple of players that scare us. That Leao is quality. And he can hurt anyone. It doesn't matter who he's running at. He can hurt anyone. Hernandez, that we were allegedly looking at signing, he'll be on Barry's list. He's decent. They've got some good players, but we've got some good players as well. Look who we've got. They wanted Botman. We've got Botman. He came back on Saturday, and he completely changed our defence. How we were so much more competent in defence and confident. And then we've got a fit Isak up front. We've got we've got pace to burn up front if we play what I think we'll play, and I think we just take it to them, press the heck out of them, and they won't like it. They'll not be used to it. So that's what I hope we do. if we try sitting back against them, that's their game, you know, and that's where we'll lose out. We need to be on them, and it's a shame we've not got Big Joe playing at his best to kick him into the stand, you know, and but you know we haven't. So I just thought we'd play our game and not try and not be tentative against them. I hope we go after them.
Okay, Chippers, it's a return to Europe. BBC and ITV doing some wonderful coverage. It has to be said tonight. I'm busy recording these to have a listen and have a look after we've finished the show. And the press conference has been delayed. Thanks to Kevin and to Spenny and to Jules who've updated us on this. The flight being delayed, obviously with the bad weather, so it's going to be a little bit after this show, probably around about 7 o'clock anyhow in Tenali. So that's your update on that. But yeah, what are you expecting from this first venture into the Champions League, mate? Do you think nerves is going to play a part, or do you think Newcastle's going to be well up for this?
It could go either one of two ways, couldn't it? It could be a case of we could get their look like rabbit in the headlights and they could catch her off guard, and after their result that was Saturday, they could come out the traps that were intimidate, were get a couple of goals and put the rocket up and bring her back down to earth. But I would like to think that wouldn't happen. I would like to think these players want to take this opportunity because they worked so hard last season for that. It seems pointless doing it if you don't take it. I like to think we'll go there and take the sting out of the game early on, and the fans will, get restless as they do over there, and they'll start booing and they'll start like what they do in Spain, get the hankies out and all that, and then we'll soak some pressure up and we'll go and score. I think we're quite capable of doing that. I think the pace that we'll have up front, we're the unknown team in this Champions League. We've got nothing to lose. Everyone thinks we're going to lose all 6 games. So why not go there and shut a few people up and bloody the noses like we did at the top 6 last season? Let's go and bloody some of Europe's best this season. Again, we've got nothing to be scared of. It's AC Milan, but they're not the Milan of the Maldini Nesta days where they were very hard to beat. They're not that team anymore. Times are changing, and I like to think we'll go there and, like I said, give them bloody their nose, and I think we can beat them. I mean, they're going to be a wounded animal, but there's not, like I said, there's no fear. They've just been battered off their rivals. So, like I said, just go out there and give them a game, and who knows, the better team will win on the night. I like to think it'll be us.
Positive. Barry, are you as positive?
I think so. I mean, you look at their squad, they have, like Ian said, they've got some good players, but the majority of their good players are 30 plus, and they're not the quickest of teams. I think if we go in the system that we've played recently and we go full pelt at them, I think they will wobble. I think their confidence is shot after the weekend. I think we can go for it. Like we just said there, we've got nothing to lose. This is our crack at the Champions League. It's Howe's first go at it, so why not? I would love to see Tonali get a goal against them. I'm hoping he's going to be in the lineup straight away because he's going to know them better than anybody else, and I think he would come alive in that atmosphere, and I think he would just go for it. No, I think the fans deserve it, Steve. It's been a long time coming. The fans of our club deserve to be in European football, and thanks to the new owners, we've got a team who can finally get there. Yes, don't get us wrong, I don't think we're going to go and win the whole competition, but I think we're going to have some cracking games along the way, and this could be the first of many, hopefully.
Yeah, and that's what it was like last time in the Champions League. We went in there as the underdogs, as the unknown quantity, and that's what it's all about. This first season back in the Champions League, the first season back in European football, is all about finding your feet, learning how to cope with the travel, learning how to cope with the squad rotation. Ideally, your bread and butter is the Premier League. You want to get in the Champions League season after season, and this season's like learning how to cope with it. We'll bring in new acquisitions in January. We'll have another good summer, and then hopefully we'll be back in the Champions League next year, and we'll be able to give a better account of ourselves. This year, it's a bit like it's like the new boys at school. You know what I mean? You just got to hope you don't get your head flushed down the toilet in the first couple of games, and then ultimately you're going to move on and hopefully put in a performance tomorrow night, which is going to make people around the world sit up and go, Hey, actually, these Geordies are no mugs, you know. Darren, welcome to the bottom row.
Where you belong, you miserable git.
I've been demoted over the top row.
It's a classic. So yeah, go on, give us your views on this. Back in the Champions League, mate. This is what it was all about last season. You know,
Yeah.
hard work got we're there. You've just got to enjoy it, mate.
Let's say we're in the group of death. We can't have a go. What's the worst that can happen? We get beat. Just can't do yourself proud, have a go, and just not be afraid. I do think the starting team tomorrow will be the back five as normal. I reckon you play Mickey, Longstaff, Tonali, Bruno, Amaron, Gordon, Isak up front. That's my starting team tomorrow. I don't think he'll go for that. I fancy a 2-1. I don't know why. Someone's saying 2-1 win tomorrow.
Okay, that's positive. More positive than you were before.
Hello.
Him and Alan in the bottom row there together. Alan.
I'm exactly the same as Chip as actually, Steve, lads. It could go either way. My biggest worry is freeze on the night. Freeze on the night. I hope they don't go out the stadium, look at the stadium and just go, bloody hell, we're here, and not realise that they're worthy to be there and to give it. And I agree with Ian. We should start off fast. Don't let them settle, because if we sit back, we're just going to go on to hiding for nothing. But I'm agreeing with Darren. Positive. I've just got, if we go out there positively, we can win 2-1. But if we go there meekly, we'll get hammered 3-0, 3 or 4-0. But I'm just excited to be there, lads. I don't know about everybody. Just the fact AC Milan have won the third most European trophies in history. So that's the caliber of club we're playing against now. Only Real Madrid and Barcelona have won more European trophies than them. So I want this year in, year out, lads. And that's what I want. And, you know, like Sunday for me is going to be even more important against Sheffield United, you know, for me. But if we go out there and win, it can, again, like I said before, and really kickstart our season. If we get a draw, it'll be fantastic. If we win, absolutely over the moon. Just go for it, though, and, you know, just don't get hammered. You know, that's what I'm hoping for. Just go there and win. Think positively. We can do it. Our potential's there to win it, for me. So 2-1 to us.
All right, Kevin.
Yeah, it's nice because I was there the last time we played him. Well, in Milan, but still went to the San Siro. I was there as an 18-year-old, you know, and experienced that. So again, like everybody said, we've got to embrace this Champions League run. We've got to embrace it and create memories for new fans who weren't probably around then. So, like I said, I watched a little bit of their highlights, and I can't remember who said it. I think it was Barry who said they're not the quickest defensively. The goalkeeper's not the best with his feet. So again, if we play how we would play it, approach it like a Premier League game, I think we could do one on them somehow. Again, I think Eddie Howe's got to get his tactics right. I think he's got to pick the right people within certain areas of the field. Sorry, I'm having this funny.
I'm demoted for that.
Oh, it's all right. The bottom row's not that bad.
I've already gone. I've already gone.
No, but I think, again, if we play our way, I think defensively they'll struggle if we actually hit the ground running. I think, obviously, the Brentford game is going to help. And I agree with Alan, next Sunday is probably the more important game. To be perfectly honest, this one's just getting in the way of it. But again, if we have consistency the way we know to play and go forward from the Brentford game and heading into the next 3 or 4, plus the European travel, plus all of that, getting your body used to that as a player, coaching staff, how's that going to all operate? That now, this is when, is an American phrase, the rubber hits the road, and this is when we really start. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's a 12:45 kickoff for me, so it's a bit early. But yeah, I just can't wait because it's just reminiscent. It brings fabulous memories back to me as a kid growing up and loving the club again, and being in the Champions League and sitting at the top table of Champions League football. I don't care who we play. It could be an even worse group than that. I don't care. Play Newcastle United way, get involved, get amongst them, and they might not like it. And I think we'll come away with maybe not a scruffy 1-0, but a well-earned 1-0 victory.
Okay, Spenny, I think it was you next. I'm trying to work out because
Spenny,
Chippers keeps going off. It's got my head battered. Spenny, give us your
Dicky
views
Bird.
on.
Is Dicky Bird back? Is he?
He's stumped. He's on the bottom there. Give us your views on the match tomorrow. What are you expecting?
Well, I think we'll win, and I think we'll win easily. To be honest, it's a different scenario from the last European games we had because we've got experienced players who played in European games. We've got the likes of Trippier, Tonali, etc., who played these games and have got this experience before when they go onto the pitch. They know what to expect. I think we've got Milan's best player, Tonali, without doubt. They have got a couple of danger players, but I can't see them doing anything at all. Yes, we're playing on a foreign land. Yes, we're playing on a different pitch. We're not playing in the Premier League, but I think we're good enough to win that tie easy enough. I think I'm going to go with a 3-0 win, easy win for us, to be honest. And it's not called the group of death for me. It's called the group of party because that's what we're going to be doing all the way through the Champions League.
He did.
Well said, Spenny.
Okay, well, let's get the predictions. I know some of you gave them and others didn't. So, George, give us your prediction for tomorrow.
2-0
Ian?
to Newcastle.
I think 2-1.
2-1. Barry?
Going with George, 2-0.
Okay, Spenny, you went 3-0.
Wilson hat-trick.
Chippers?
2-1 us.
2-1.
Tonali 2-1.
Alan?
2-1.
And Kevin?
Yeah, I'll stick with my 1-0 and Tonali to score from a free kick.
Right. Okay, I'm going 1-1. I'm going a bit more cautious. I think Newcastle will get a draw. I do think it's going to be a tight game, a lot tighter than people think. I think Milan will go in defensively, but I think it'll be a 1-1. Okay, I want to finish the show with a comment that came in from Craig Lee. He commented on the Professionals show. And if you do miss the show, don't forget that you can comment under the videos, and I do tend to read all of them. Sometimes I'll comment back, but other times, if you want to make a point which you can't watch live, then drop a question into there or drop a point into there. Craig says, question for the panel about VAR and referees. He says, on Saturday, a Brentford player went down holding his head whilst we were attacking and we had the ball. The ref stopped the game as per rules. The replay showed no one touched him or is anywhere near his face or head. This is time wasting and the way players are stopping attacks or goals. Should VAR inform the ref and the opposition receive a free kick, pen, and the player a yellow? This trend shows players will always find a way to bend the rules. Now, this was a finger flick out, and the Brentford player got caught on the chin, and he went down clutching his face and went down on the ground and was rolling around as if he'd been hit by a sniper. So ultimately, George, it's game management. I guess, the point that Craig's trying to make, I think it's quite a good one. We've got VAR, which, let's face it, it's made a pig's ear. The people in charge of it have made a pig's ear of running VAR. However, once it does eventually get into the hands of people who know what they're doing, is that something that should utilize VAR for? Because ultimately that happens a hell of a lot, George.
Well, of course it should be. It should be anything that unusual or illegal that happens on the pitch. VAR should be involved and should help the referee. That's what it's there for. But at the moment, it's a bloody nuisance. I mean, the goal on Saturday was absolute travesty. But I think who said that we only got the penalty because they knew they'd made a mess of that. I think that was right. So do I. Anyway, but we should have another penalty anyway. No, it should help. It should help referees. It shouldn't be just there impassively. The big problem they've got, and I'll never be happy with it, till they follow the other sports, follow cricket, follow rugby league, follow American football. You hear what the referee says to the people in the box, and you hear what the box says to the referee. And that makes a hell of a difference because there's still a lot of people around who think that VAR is corrupt. And I'm not sure, I'm not far away from that myself. And that's largely because it isn't transparent. The only people that know what's said are the referee and the bloke that's sitting in the box 300 miles away. Well, I want to hear what is saying on the pitch. When the rugby league's there, when I always love to go to the Magic Weekend, watch the referees there and listen to what they're saying. See what the VAR man says and he asks how many views he wants and all this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Football fans get none of that. Absolutely awful. As regards the other things, yes, it should help the referee with that. I mean, don't be naive, lads. From time immemorial, professional football have cheated like hell. Even some of the famous ones who I loved, knew how to push things their way. But yeah, that guy looked as though he'd been hit by Mike Tyson. Not a finger flick, it was, and it should have been pulled up and notified to the referee to do something about it. It should have been a certain yellow card. It was certain yellow cards, yeah, right. So yes, it should help the referee to do that, and I'll look forward to the day when it will.
Okay, Ian, same question. Should VAR be doing other things?
I wish you'd not asked me this after a few beers. It's going to be a long answer this, trying not to swear. I sent a lot of messages on your previous shows and other platforms about the referees, VAR. I hope I'm not a complete idiot and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but when you watch a game like that and it's so biased against your team, and it's not just once, it's not twice, it's every flipping week that this is happening, you start looking at it and thinking there's something wrong here. You got Mike Dean, a Tranmere fan whose 3 sons all have season tickets for Liverpool, who then retires, goes on to VAR, makes a awful cock up of that, gets sacked from that, and then turns around and admits that, he didn't give this decision, the Cucurella hair pull decision, because he didn't want to put any more pressure on his pal, even though it was wrong. You've got previous referees coming out saying the PGMOL have sent emails and showed proof of emails, if I'm right, to back up that they were instructed to favour the big 6 or larger teams. It's a load of it's a load of bollocks, basically. I wouldn't trust any of them with next door's cat, and I hate it. They're if they're not crooked, they are not fit for purpose. They're shit at the jobs, and they shouldn't be doing it. It's embarrassment. We used to have the best referees for me in the world 20 years ago. When we were in Europe the last time, our referees set a standard for me. There was always a few knobbers, but they set a standard of being at least okay, and you were worried about European referees. Now it's the other way around. I'd get all of them in, you know what I mean? And the handball that wasn't given as a handball, I'd like to go back to last season when Dan Burn had exactly the same thing happen to him, and that was given.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's not a penalty, then why is Dan Burns a penalty? And if actually that one was worse, because the header back, when it clicked, all right, he glances up his head, but his hand stops it going directly to, I think it was it Wilson in the middle, who was just literally there to slot it in. I can't remember. There was someone, it was going straight towards him. It deflected off his hand. Nothing came of it. I honestly cannot believe that they could say that the goal that Wilson scored wasn't a goal. It's absolute bollocks. That it's ridiculous. There was nothing in any of that. If anything, the goalkeeper was so weak in that,
Yeah, it was poor, and the worst thing about it didn't get picked up on Match of the Day. None of the networks have covered it. It's disappointing. I'm gonna have to cut you short, because I've only got 5 minutes, and I've got a pre-record. Geordie's here. Geordie's there after this at 7:00. So I'm not cutting you off because I wasn't agreeing with you. I'm cutting you off just because I've got to get round everybody else.
You shouldn't have mentioned it to us.
No, all your points were valid, and I completely agree with it. But it's an interesting one that Craig's put in the chat. I think it's a good one. Barry, just on this point, should VAR be used for other things?
It's like the guys say. We're getting to the stage now where you have no trust in it whatsoever. The decisions that they're making are ludicrous. The reasoning behind them, like George says, if you came out and give a reason for why they're making some of these decisions, you could sort of get your head around it. But it initially when it came in, VAR was going to get better over time, and if anything, Steve, it's getting worse.
Yeah.
There's more and more of these mistakes coming out. It needs, I don't want to say a governing body, but it needs somebody to look at an overhaul of it and say what the issues are and what they can do to improve it. Somebody impartial, but I don't know if it's ever going to get that, unfortunately.
Kevin, just an opportunity really for VAR to do other things. I think that it's just the point I'm making is that, you know, something like that could be picked up by VAR, and they could, you know, what Craig's suggesting is that there could be a yellow card, there could be retrospective action, the referee could be pointed to it, and, you know, there's punishment, and, you know, it would help. It would slow the game down, I guess, but it would help stop the cheating, I guess.
Exactly, and the phrase is bringing the game into disrepute from players' perspective, because footballers know what they're doing. You know, they know exactly what they're doing. They're manipulating the game. They're bending the rules as far as they possibly can without them breaking them. Well, they essentially are, but it's just sad. I mean, over here, like George said, we've got NFL, and they actually have a microphone like every Premier League referee do, and they talk to they're literally the whole nation who's watching and saying, this is the decision that's being made, and this is the penalty, or this is the cause of what's happened. So I'm not saying we'll have to go that far, but at least something has to be notified, say, if we're watching on TV, to say, hey, what's going on? Even I had an idea with the VAR decisions and things, just a thought of, everybody's got electronic advertising hoardings, right? And we've got a screen in the worst position at St James's Park. Why can't they put the decision around the advertising boards to say, so everybody can see it and everybody understands it? Depends on where you sit in the stadium. I was just sitting there thinking about, you know, that's just how my mind operates, is holistic, and to move the game forward is a positive. You know, because we don't know watching on the TV. We can't see the screen. The commentators are getting words, kind of, sort of. So, yeah, I think other action maybe have to be taken after the fact. You know, reprimands and things like that. If they do it again, you get a game ban or you get a fine or whatever. So, but yeah.
Okay, Spenny.
But for me, I'm totally agree with George about the rugby thing. I think that should be in football as well. Even horse racing is doing it in the studio for decision on as well. You watch the rugby and it's done, and then they go to the VAR person in the studio and they see the person making a decision there and then and talking to the referee. This should be done. And as for cheating in the box, trying to do anything they can to get awards. Instead of a yellow card, I think you should get a red card, so to learn the lesson. If it's in that box and you're trying to cheat, you should get a red card straight away for me, not a yellow.
Okay, I'm reading all of these comments coming in about the plane being late, and now talk about Eddie Howe getting punished by UEFA for being late for the press conference. So we'll wait and see. Surely they can't punish him because of an act of God. There'll be some kind of get out clause on that, I'm sure. Chip has just a quick one because we've only got a couple of minutes left. Just VAR, should it be used for other things other than the stuff that it's being used for at the moment?
Yeah, I think personally, if they get a decision wrong, you should be able to have an opinion on it, because it seems to me that you have an opinion on that being wrong, referee being wrong, you get done for it. I don't see, if I do something wrong at work, my manager criticises that, well, we're my rights to be criticised for it. So I don't see why we should be too soft on them. And if they make a wrong decision, I think they've got every right to be criticised regarding it as well. So yeah, it needs to be, because it's just, you can't, it's getting worse, and it's supposed to be in for the better, and it's just spoiling the games, really, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is, 100%. Darren, VAR used on other things?
I'll be quick. Agree with George. We should be able to hear them, what they're saying. And I watched the Arsenal game yesterday. It was the first time the referee, if the player dived, the referee told the player to get up instead of cheating. So that's, the ref had a bit bold. They wouldn't say, yeah, not cheating, mate. I'd say that yesterday.
All right. And finally, Alan, what's your views on that?
Totally agree with what everybody said. Different parts. I agree with Kevin about the retrospective action. And to be honest with you, if VAR keeps on going, we'll be playing games till Sunday night, because the amount of extra time we're playing now, lads, with the things that we've got going now, never mind extra on VAR. So I agree with everything that's been said. The referees should be, like George and Spenny Mag said, they should be told, like the lads have said, that what the decisions are made should be known to the crowd at the time of action. But yeah, it is what it is, lads.
Brilliant show tonight. I'm going to let you get off and enjoy the videos. Get yourself onto Twitter. Go to Football Away Days and just go and look at how Newcastle fans are entertaining themselves in the rain. I tell you what, there'll be a few cuts and grazes on me tonight. That's all I'm saying. But get yourself onto Twitter at Away Days and go and have a look at what the lads are doing. It's been a great show. As always, we come on here. It's always a great debate. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks to the moderators.
Cheers, boys.
Alan, Darren, Sam,
Fingers crossed, lads.
Ian, and George.
Good to see you.